schools where the kids, a lot of them would come to school, they didn't have food in their bellies, etc., etc. And there's a agency in the UK called CAMS, which is Child and Mental Health Services. And I remember that we had so many kids who had problems, psychological problems, particularly if you grow up poor, deprived. You know, you'd seen horrible stuff when you were a kid. You had, you know, maybe like a brother who got involved in gangs is now in prison, a father who was never there. There were so many kids who had this need, and they had conditions which were undiagnosed, whether it's something like dyslexia or like your brother was murdered, you had some form of PTSD. And you had this, you know, this agency which brought counselors in, which brought psychologists in and psychiatrists who were experts at dealing with kids. And I just remember, because of austerity, you know, this agency got cut after cut after cut after cut. And you're looking at it and you're going, like, I understand we need to cut. I understand we're running at a deficit. But there needs to be balance as well, because when you're looking at those type of agencies, they're really important. They're really important. And also, if you invest that money and you're able to support those kids, they're far more likely when they leave school to be a healthy, happier member of society that's going to contribute tax pounds sterling or tax dollars.
Do you think it's a reasonable request to have something that does that? Something that helps feed poor kids, helps educate people, genuinely helps communities all around the world, completely separate from all the other stuff that agency does? Because like USAID was a huge, gigantic organization of a bunch of different entities, right?
Which did some good stuff, and a lot of crazy shit.
A lot of crazy shit. But if I was someone who was, you know, nefariously running things, I would definitely mix up my regime change operation with like giving food to poor people. So like, look, we're doing great stuff. Look at all the great stuff we're doing. Here's what we're highlighting.
Well, you don't like feeding poor kids? Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and no one even knew that they had this enormous budget that was is it bigger than the Pentagon's? Was USAID's budget bigger than the Pentagon's? No?
No, it's like,
what is
0.6% of the budget or something like
what was USAID's budget?
Yeah, it's like 0.6% of the budget.
No, I know, but like, what was the numbers? Because it was bigger than something, like the amount of money that USAID pays.
$21.7 billion for the fiscal year of 2024, 0.3% of the $6.8 trillion overall federal budget.
6 point what trillion? That's so crazy. So you just think just that money, how much of that money is fraud and waste?
Yeah.
How much of that money is really good? How much of that money, like, that should be separate from, at the very least, someone needs to go in and audit and go, hey, Wells, good. Giving these people arms because you want them to overthrow that government, that's probably not so good.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is good.
Or maybe it is good.